by piece, man. Now, we know Kayla Clark fever is currently done, sitting at the crib, getting ready for next year. And I'm here to tell you, it's still more drama and more headlines surrounding Kayla Clark, even though she ain't even playing in the league right now. They season over with. We have WNBA players, veterans, and pretty much everybody connected to this league blaming Kayla Clark fan base for the hate a lot of these players has been receiving. Bro, you cannot single-handedly blame Kayla Clark fan base. Did y'all not?
This whole stretch was a wild one for the WNBA, and looking back at it now, it is worth piecing together exactly how everything connected because a lot happened in a very short window. The Caitlin Clark situation, the stuff that went down at the Connecticut Sun game, and then the Weatherspoon firing all dropped right on top of each other, and the league was not ready for any of it. So by this point, Clark and the Fever were already done for the season and sitting at home waiting for next year, but even with her not on the court anymore, the headlines kept coming. A bunch of WNBA players and veterans started publicly blaming Clark's fanbase for the harassment and the hate that players were dealing with across the league.
Blame Kayla Clark fan base. Did y'all not just see what happened at the Connecticut Sun game? Not only was it a fan that called out Kayla Clark, it was somebody with media credentials. Your boy John the Liquidator tried to get media credentials for the WNBA. They told me hell to the no, bro. But y'all give this guy media credentials and he harassing Kayla Clark on the sideline. This whole league is ridiculous. Well, it looked like someone who was actually at the game, sitting a row or two behind the gentleman, leaked it all online.
The argument was that Clark's followers were the ones sending the nasty messages and showing up to games causing problems. But that take did not sit right with a lot of people because the Connecticut Sun game had literally just happened and it blew a massive hole in that whole narrative. Here is what went down at that game. During the contest, a guy sitting in the front row started going back and forth with Clark on the sideline.
A row or two behind the gentleman leaked it all online last night. Viva X, bruh. Now let's have a recap of exactly what happened at the Connecticut Sun game. Roll the footage.
Clark pointed it out to the officials right away and security came over to deal with it. The guy got removed from the arena and was not allowed back in. That part was caught on the broadcast and everybody saw it happen in real time, but what came out afterward was even worse. Someone who was actually sitting right behind this guy started talking online about exactly what was said during the whole exchange. According to what got posted, the guy did not just throw out one bad word either. He reportedly told Clark he hoped she would fall and hurt herself badly, and then after security moved him out, he apparently went back to his seat first and started bragging about the whole thing to other Sun fans sitting around him. Other people who were there started coming forward with their own accounts confirming pieces of the story.
Security is going to have a conversation with that gentleman.
Now, that was the incident that transpired at the Connecticut Sun game between Kayla Clark and the fan. Now, just like I stated, more information is coming out about exactly what was said to Kayla Clark. Let's pull up some of these tweets right now. This fan stated he didn't just call her a bleep. He also stated he hopes she falls and break her neck, among other things. Then he got up to go back to his seat.
The part that made everybody even angrier was that this guy had media credentials hanging around his neck the whole time. He was there in some kind of official capacity and still acted like that. Nobody seemed to know exactly where his credentials came from or whether they got pulled after everything happened. The guy himself never said a word publicly about any of it, so most of what came out was from the people sitting near him.
Her neck, among other things. Then he got up to go back to his seat, then bragged about it to other Sun fans around. I sat behind them. More people that was actually at the game came forward as well. One fan stated this: the guy told a Fever reporter that he was kind of embarrassed by the whole thing because he said he just told her to quit whining. WTF. Now, I don't know if I believe that, bro, but it is what it is. I don't know if all of this information is true, but as of right now, I gotta say it is all alleged because the gentleman that was...
Some of it was still unconfirmed at the time, but enough of it lined up to make the whole thing a real mess for the league to deal with. This is when Rachel Demita started speaking up and her take cut through a lot of the noise. She laid out pretty clearly that there were people inside the WNBA itself who did not actually want the league to grow if it meant Clark was at the center of it. She called it jealousy straight up and said she could not find any other word for it.
that was removed from the game and then let back in. He has yet to comment on the situation. Now, we do know that he did have media credentials around his neck. So right now, we don't know if he still have those, but man, this is a tough time dealing with the WNBA. I feel like they is not equipped for all of this stuff that is about to transpire in this league. And speaking of that, we got Rachel Dementa actually talking about Caitlin Clark fans, setting the tone for the next phase of this video.
The argument was that Clark brought millions of new eyes to the sport, and that was supposed to be a good thing, but some of the people running things or connected to the league were not acting like it. Demeta also pushed back on the idea that all the toxicity was coming from one direction. She brought up the fact that Clark had been dealing with death threats and stalking situations and needed personal security everywhere she went, and that none of that ever got the same kind of public outrage from players or the league itself. Then she brought up the Dearica Hamby situation, which a lot of people had seemingly forgotten about.
Dementa actually talking about Caitlin Clark fans, setting the tone for the next phase of this video. Let's roll the footage.
There are still certain people within the WNBA who want the league to grow, but they don't want it to grow if it's certain people at the face. And there is still this undertone of jealousy that for some reason I cannot get around calling it anything else but that, because I don't know what else it could be. I thought it was going to get better this season, but it hasn't. There are still people who seemingly, to me, feel like they just don't want Caitlin to be a part of it. Because with Caitlin comes millions and millions.
Angel Reese also threw her 2 cents in around the same time. She retweeted comments from Alicia Thomas about the harassment situation and added her own words about the racial and sexist messages she had been getting on social media. She said it was unacceptable and that the league needed to act fast instead of dragging its feet. She talked about how players should be able to show up and do their jobs without that kind of garbage being thrown at them.
Teresa Weatherspoon possibly helped her do it. Yes, this whole story is beyond me, bruh. It's completely crazy that a coach would possibly help a rookie keep a streak alive. Now, I know y'all saying this is clickbait. No, it is not, bruh, because this article starting to come out the pipeline that was exactly the case that went down in Chicago. Now, none of this information has been confirmed, so as of right now, it is going to be considered alleged, but it is being reported that here it reveals how former coach
Brittany Griner also weighed in publicly on the whole situation around the same time. Then late that same night, the Teresa Weatherspoon firing dropped and it changed the conversation all over again. Angel Reese actually broke the news before any of the major outlets even reported it. She posted a long statement online expressing how heartbroken she was about Weatherspoon losing her job.
Teresa Weatherspoon lost control of the locker room. Yes, that was another situation that has transpired too. She had no control over that Chicago Sky locker room. A recent report explains a joint reason why former Chicago coach Teresa Weatherspoon was fired last month. Now, a lot of this information is crazy, man. News is still starting to come out of Chicago as to why she was fired, but it's being reported that the Chicago Sky made major.
She talked about how much the coach meant to her during a tough stretch in her career and said Weatherspoon was the only person who truly believed in her when nobody else did. She also brought race into it, saying that not everyone understands what it is like to be a black woman in professional sports. That part specifically drew a lot of criticism because people felt like she kept pulling that card no matter what the situation was. She also said she originally came to Chicago because of Weatherspoon, which a lot of people pointed out did not really make sense since she was drafted by the Sky and did not exactly have a choice in the matter.
Reported that the Chicago Sky made major waves within the women's basketball community when they announced their firing of first-year head coach Teresa Weatherspoon at the end of September. Now, Teresa Weatherspoon was the first coach to go on the board. As soon as the season was over for them as a team, they got rid of her immediately. So that's how I know it has to be some validity to this story because she left too damn fast. Now, the article goes on to say, her and Weatherspoon, who had no experience as a head coach.
The rest of the statement was genuinely emotional, and it was clear she took the whole thing hard, regardless of how people felt about everything else going on. Some voices in the league were done with all the drama at that point. One notable comment that circulated was someone basically saying enough with the back and forth and the social media theater. Clark and the Fever were headed to the playoffs while everyone else was wrapped up in nonsense, and it was time for the rest of the league to focus on actually competing. There was also early speculation floating around about who might end up coaching the Sky next, with Kurt Miller's name coming up as a possibility, but nothing had been confirmed yet, and the off-season was just getting started.
Teresa Weatherspoon, who had no experience as a head coach on a professional basketball team before Chicago Skyler, was a risk. They did not pay off. Yes, it definitely did not pay off, bro, because it didn't matter who the coach was. They could have got Angel Reese and Cardoso regardless. In addition to the Sky producing the worst regular season record compared to the 2023 season, Weatherspoon was criticized for her coaching decisions late in the game, including her alleged allowing Angel Reese to pad her stats to set the...
By now, the whole situation surrounding Teresa Weatherspoon and the Chicago Sky has been picked apart from every possible angle, and the more that came out, the messier it got. What started as a straightforward coaching change turned into something a lot bigger once reporters started digging into what was actually happening behind closed doors during that season. The central claim that kept getting brought up was pretty serious, that Weatherspoon did not just stand by while Angel Reese chased that consecutive double-double record, but actively set things up on the court to make sure it kept going. Rotations, possessions, the way plays were drawn up late in games, all of it was allegedly shaped around protecting that streak rather than putting the team in the best position to win.
To set the WNBA record for consecutive double-doubles. See, told y'all, it is all starting to come out. I've been telling y'all she was padding them damn stats. Ain't nobody want to believe me. Now, this is all alleged, but I'm just saying it's looking real spooky out of Chicago right now because Camila Cardoso barely synced the court, and we know she was a big dog down there in South Carolina, and the way it's looking, she never had a starting chance the way they padding Angel Reese stats. Now,
none of this was ever officially confirmed by the organization, so everything stayed in the territory of allegations. But the sheer volume of reporting and the speed at which Weatherspoon was let go after the season ended made a lot of people think there was real substance behind it. The fact that Weatherspoon was the first coach in the league to lose her job once the season wrapped up raised eyebrows immediately. She did not get a full off-season to regroup or a chance to make adjustments.
They patent Angel Reese stats. Now, the article goes on to say, when speaking with the media on Wednesday, Sky GM Jeff said of Weatherspoon fire, we felt it was time to make a change and more or less left it at that. So he let it be known. Whatever the situation was, we got to make this change, and he ain't speak nothing else about it. Now, that speaks volumes in itself. From the beginning, it was clear that Weatherspoon's inexperience will be a difficult hurdle to overcome, one reporter.
The Sky moved on from her right away, which suggested the organization already knew the damage was done and did not want to spend any more time explaining it. When the team's general manager Jeff spoke publicly about the decision, he kept it incredibly short. He said they felt it was time to make a change and basically stopped talking after that. No details, no elaboration, nothing.
Experience will be a difficult hurdle to overcome, one reporter wrote. Weatherspoon's inability to keep the team schematically prepared was evidenced by her rotation and poor late game play calls. Her failure to maximize rookie, what I tell you. Camila Cardoso, the number 3 overall pick on offense, also came into question. Now that there is what really kind of threw everybody off, because we all remember in the beginning of the season, Camila Cardoso did go down, so she did get hurt. She missed a couple games. Now, Camila Cardoso.
That kind of silence from the front office spoke louder than anything he actually said. Weatherspoon came into the job with no prior experience running a professional basketball team, and that lack of experience showed up in several places throughout the year. The biggest one was how she handled the rotation. Camila Cardoso, the number 3 overall pick, barely got meaningful playing time for stretches of the season.
Now, Camila Cardoso came back, but we didn't really see her get going. We didn't see the Camila Cardoso that we seen in South Carolina. No. You want to know why? Because they was helping Angel pat them damn stats. According to the league source, Weatherspoon had lost control of the locker room because of culture that catered to the needs of a few players she added. Catered to the needs. So that means, why they sitting up here talking about the FIBA locker room, Cheryl, the whole time talking about players don't want to go there because so-and-so, it looked like